Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Sage, and I'm so excited to have the opportunity to speak to all of you today about the class of 2016. Sometime last year, before the transformation of this class, everyone was gathered for an ordinary Tuesday morning assembly, and the time had come for a check-in on the class cup competition. You can see that there's kind of a stigma about this. The classes compete against each other for points by attending plays, concerts, sporting events, and just showing general class and school spirit. And as scores for each class flashed up on the screen, students applauded for their class. But when the class of 2016 score came up, some of us were instantly on our feet, hollering with pride, fist pumped in the air. We got what we wanted, what we knew we deserved. We were in dead last, 100 points behind our closest competitor. We didn't care. We exulted in our self-image, our inside joke, that the class of 2016 will always come in last. That moment and others like it capture a unique aspect about this class that I have a hard time putting into words. I guess we have a slightly defiant edge, a touch of irony. Many people have tried to characterize this aspect. We've been described as nonchalant, underdogs, and polite whiners. Thanks to Kelly and Mr. Marshall on that one. If the English department were consulted, they might say insouciant or showing a casual lack of concern. We haven't always been the class whose photo you want on the cover of the school brochure. We've been a bit of a puzzle with our social cliques, our personas, and our pointless drama. And you know, that was all very pronounced early on, but things did start to change. Most of the people I talked to agreed that this change occurred last year. Uprep's famously feared junior year. Some may disagree on when it happened, but I remember the moment I realized that something had changed. And it came to me as I walked into the library one morning during finals week last year and looked out into that sea of pre-test panic and confusion, notes strewn across tables, my peers desperately rushing around, a constant hum of whining in the air. And now maybe it was the lack of sleep and hyper-caffeinated state I was in, but I couldn't help but physically stop and just admire that chaotic beauty. My peers were putting their heads together, both figuratively and physically, as tight study circles clustered around the textbooks and answer keys. For an exam that you end up taking by yourself, we sure were studying for it like a team. And that was the first time for many of us, myself included, that we saw this class come together as such a strong team. Because when the tensions were high and the pressure was on, we were finally learning that it's much easier to move forward if you go together. Was everyone suddenly the best of friends? No. Had the social cliques finally dissolved? Of course not. But we were no longer straining ourselves under the notion of, I don't need you. Recognizing each other's gifts and seeing how those gifts benefited all of us, we finally realized the stakes we feel in each other's success. And it caused the talents and passions of this class to bloom. You just saw them, but Haley Pike and Eleanor Schiffler, we watched them both work tirelessly to put on an excellent show, The Fantastics. Haley obsessively practiced that piano that in the days leading up to the show, she had to wear wrist braces to keep playing. Just recently, we had a team of students come in first place in a filmmaking competition, dispelling the notion that the class of 2016 will always come in last. Last night, you saw Max Rosbach win the Golden Hammer Award, and believe me, folks, he deserved it because I haven't seen parents give their newborn infant more attention than he gives that theater. And you heard it earlier, Jason Vassallo, the best birder this side of the Cascades. Seen all but maybe 3 species of birds in Washington. Dancers, scientists, activists, athletes, history nerds. I could go down the class roster and reel off another 80 examples, but I don't need to, because I know that all of my peers have a bold passion that's impossible to quantify. So yes, we may have a reputation of being a bit dysfunctional, and that's not an unfair assessment. We worked hard to earn that reputation after all. But on the grand scale of things, it's a trivial point. It's overshadowed by the talent and drive in each and every one of my peers. Somehow these traits have translated into a shared sense of ambition that ultimately binds us together as a class. Like all seniors before us, we're excited for the next 4 years. Having classes only a couple days a week, getting a fresh start, just getting out there and having general college fun, hopefully not of the kind that results in a call home from the dean or the chief of police. And every class has those hopes. But what makes our class special is that I know my peers are already looking far beyond the next 4 years, even if they don't know it yet, because they show it through their passion. The students of this class are eager to forge their own path. They're excited to get the dream job, develop new communities, start their own families, to just get out into the world and make their mark. Among us, there's an intense urgency to move on, something I'm sure many of you witnessed during finals week. Truthfully, I'm itching to leave Uprep. In fact, it's taken my last ounce of high school discipline not to tear up this speech and slip out the back door with my diploma. And same with my peers, though. Some of you will remember at a recent college night, they were asked if any of them would miss Uprep. Not a single hand was raised. So I speak for all of us when I say, we are ready to get the hell out of here. But don't feel bad about that, and don't fault us for that, because it's your fault, after all. It was your dedication, patience, care, and ultimately, your love that has made us so eager to go live our lives. Because, thank you, sir. Because it doesn't matter whether you're in hoop squad or on mock trial, whether you're a student, teacher, mom or dad, a brother, sister, or a friend. If you're in this room tonight, you're part of a community that's been dedicated to nurturing the natural character of each student of the class of 2016. Understand that if anything, our eagerness to leave means that you did your jobs brilliantly. There's no way we can fully convey our gratitude to you for all of that. So see in our eagerness to go a sign of our thanks. My last thought, my classmates and I are able to move forward so freely because we feel that this community, this school, will always be here, will always be a home in a sense. A place we can return to, a place we belong, a place we are welcome even as destiny pulls us along. We move forward freely because this isn't farewell for us. If I've learned anything here, it's that if someone is a part of your history, then they're part of your future. We may be going, but we are never leaving. On behalf of the class of 2016, thank you. We love you. We'll be seeing you.
I'd like everyone to give Nick another round of applause for giving it a phenomenal speech. Seniors, the only thing standing between you and your official graduation is a short speech made by the two of us. So allow us a few minutes to summarize and give some highlights of our collective high school careers.
Both the individual and group triumphs, as well as the collective failures, which have all proven to be humorous in hindsight. So bear with us as we break down the last 4 years in a final countdown to graduation.
10. 10 is the number of faculty members that were part of Annie Cohen's committee to introduce consent education to the health curriculum at University Prep.
Now, there are more than 10 committee members, but we didn't want to stray from our countdown theme with the first thing that we talked about.
Well, each and every single one of the members of the class of 2016 have contributed to the community here at University Prep. Annie's contribution to the Uprep community is an example of one we all hope makes it into the curriculum and has a lasting impact. 9. 9 is the average number of hours that the class of 2016 started their sophomore thesis.
Before the due date. 9 hours
Yes,
before the
9
due
hours
date.
before the due date.
Yep. Well, Joe, that's not entirely fair. We did learn quite a bit while completing the sophomore thesis. Granted, most of what we learned was about time management, but we learned a lot about our topics too.
Yeah, well, we learned a lot about our topics the night before the paper was due.
That's fair.
8 months ago, Sasha Shank took on an individual project to change our financial policy to compensate teachers and faculty members for paternal and personal leave.
And maternal. So, you know.
Yes.
All right. All right. Faculty and staff, we know that we sometimes forget to tell you all how much we appreciate everything you do, but we really do appreciate everything, and thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. University Prep has 7 founders, one of whom was a French teacher here throughout our 7th grade.
Yeah, and speaking of French teachers, 6 is the number of French teachers who have decided to part ways with University Prep after teaching our grade. Now, if it was only 1 or 2, and they were scattered throughout our University Prep careers, we could call it a coincidence. But it was 6 in a row, and one of them was an aforementioned founder, so she was particularly attached to the school. So at this point, I think it's safe to say that it's definitely us. And we hope in our absence, the French department will be able to find some consistency and stability, and we want to thank Madame Rio for finally breaking the curse.
Hey, Story, what do you remember about freshman year?
Not much, but let's see. Playing varsity basketball, going to Houston for SDLC, and us going to Tolo together.
I thought we weren't going to talk about that.
My bad. Sorry, Joe.
Besides that, what do you remember?
Not sure. What are you going for?
Remember that time where the class average on the Romeo and Juliet test was a 50?
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, I do remember that. I had successfully blocked that one from my memory, though, so thank you, Joe, for reminding me.
Yeah, I'd like to personally thank Mr. Yim for that one.
Yep. On a different note, the University Prep women's varsity basketball team has had its 4 most successful years in the history of the program. 2 league championships, 2 trips to state, 2 league MVPs, and sophomore year we won the tournament in Walla Walla. Also, just recently, Joe won the golf state championship and took 4th individually with Roosevelt.
Both men's and women's varsity soccer teams have made state finals appearances, and during our time here, the girls have won 2 state championships. Varsity baseball had one of their most successful years in recent history thanks to a large core group of seniors. And our very own Max Gregg is now the all-time leading scorer in Uprep basketball history.
Moving along, 3. The number of outfits that Alex Ono has worn in his entire University Prep career. 1 red Philly shirt, 1 white Philly shirt, and 1 blue Philly shirt, tastefully combined with 1 red pair of basketball shorts, 1 white pair of basketball shorts, and 1 blue pair of basketball shorts.
This also from a man who wore a full tux to a 6th grade dance.
He did indeed.
As Nick talked about in the last speech, Haley and Eleanor were the 2 directors of the musical The Fantastics, a wonderful musical they put on through the student-produced works class. Our grade has truly been successful, artistically, academically, and athletically.
And finally, because no commencement speech would be complete without some sappiness, there is only one University Prep class of 2016. We've banded together through the ups and downs of high school, and we've emerged older and wiser and ready to take on the world.
Are we?
Well, Joe, I don't know, but it sounds nice. Anyways, either way, high school has been an incredibly formative experience, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Thank you, all of you.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Congratulations, seniors. We are now graduated.